Hello there, my name is Andrew Steele, and I will take you through my data story, How has music changed through the decades? This will be a data story that is suited for music lovers that narrates change over time. First, a little bit of background on my data story. So as a synopsis, we'll be looking at the most popular music in each decade and how that has changed over time. We'll also be gaining a better understanding of the underlying attributes of music defined by Spotify and how those attributes have changed over time. So below that, we have some key terms here. These are the underlying attributes of music defined by Spotify. So feel free to pause the video and familiarize with those if needed. Finally, for the data was scraped using Spotify's Organize Your Music tool with the All Out Decades playlists. For 2020, I used a playlist that was top songs in 2020 to date. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So what music is popular in each decade? How about today? So here on the left, we have a chart that shows the composition of each decade of music. So the greater the size means the more that decade is composed of that genre of music. For instance, we can look here at the 1980s. We can see that rock is a very large majority of the overall music in that genre. This just gives us a brief idea of what types of music makes up those playlists and what type of music was most popular at a point in time. We can also look at which decade of music is most popular today. So music released more recently is, on average, more popular than music released in the past. A small exception here is in the 1990s. It seems like the 1980s and 1970s is a little bit more popular. Finally, which genres are most popular today? Hip hop and electronic are by far the songs with the highest popularity rating. That does coincide with seeing hip hop here in 2020. Electronic makes up a much smaller composition, but we do see on average that it is very, very popular today. So let's ask another question. Are genres fundamentally different? So here I wanted to show what the top 5 genres are and how they differ from each other. So we have 6 attributes here that are drivers of the music itself. So we can definitely spot some outliers. So beats per minute, these are largely the same. So this is essentially tempo. We do see electronic is a leader here. For danceability, hip hop, rap, that's for all the TikTok users. For energy, we can see that electronic is also the highest there. That makes sense with energy and beats per minute being correlated. For speechiness, we can see that hip hop uses the most words in songs, that rock produces the most positive mood, but not by that much more. And then we can see that for acousticness, that adult standards by far is more acoustic than the other music genres. So how have factors that affect a song's mood change over time? So we know that valence is the measure of how positive a mood the song is. So 2 other underlying attributes that seem to be positive correlated with that were danceability and energy. Here we can see how those attributes have changed over time. Though valence used to produce a more positive mood back in the 1950s, we still can see that it does follow along the same path with danceability and energy. It's actually the opposite there, where danceability and energy have actually increased over time. So with more hip hop music, with more electronic music, we can see that those values have increased. How about song length? How does song length impact the popularity over time? So song length over the decades, we can see here that there was a big spike here in the 1970s, and then in the mid 1980s, song length started actually decreasing over time to come all the way down to 3 minutes and 12 seconds on average for songs that were released in 2020. This is pretty close with what the most popular range of song length is. So in the bin between 3 minutes and 30 seconds and 3 minutes and 50 seconds, you see that's where the majority of songs are. So how have some of the underlying attributes changed? We can see that tempo has remained fairly static. There's a very, very minor increase over time. However, The other two do seem to show pretty big increases over time. Loudness, how long a song is, has gradually increased over time. And then word usage, you can see that it stayed fairly static going up and down for a while. Then it took a big increase here in the 2000s, came back down in the 2010s, but now seems to be back on the rise. So how has music changed the decades? So music has seen an increase in word usage and danceability over time, especially as hip hop rap has become more popular. Songs have decreased in length over the last couple of decades, down to 3 minutes and 12 seconds on average in 2020. Music has become more loud since the 1950s, but has begun leveling off in the 2000s. Adult standards are much more acoustic than other type of genre. This genre was popular back in the 1950s and 1960s. Although violence has decreased over the years, a positive correlation does still exist with danceability and energy. The decline can be attributed to a decrease in popularity in rock, which was most popular over the years on average. Finally, tempo has stayed largely the same over the last 7 decades. So recommendations, consider what types of genres of music you like the most, and what about that genre draws you to it? Which genres of music put you in the best mood? Think about the music that you listen to the most. Ponder your own music listening habits. I encourage you to learn some about this more. Is it the use of lyrics or danceability in hip hop rap? Is it the high tempo and electronic music that draws you to it? Is it rock and pop like Spotify listeners, most Spotify listeners, where those types of songs put you in the best mood? And think about the music that you listen to the most. Is it mostly new music, or do you like nostalgia? Thanks for listening.